Welcome to the Nick and Jimmy Show. On today's episode, we have Montreal's biggest connector from the nightlife industry to real estate mogul and also big charities. This person is so humble. He's a great person. What you see is what you get. Mr. Adamo. Adamo, thank you for being on the show.
Welcome on the show.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. There's a whole story behind everything. Like from the club to the restaurant, not the restaurant business, from the club business to real estate, they've been kind of feeding off each other for almost 20 years. I started a club business back in 1998, and then I got my real estate license in 2002. I was very young, I was 22. So you couldn't really get into, let's say, commercial real estate or doing land acquisitions at 22. People think you're an idiot. You know, you can't even sell to your own family, your uncles. They look at you like, okay, get out of here, kid. You know how it is to work with family. They think you're an idiot until you start teaching them something, you know? When you start making them money, then they start to listen to you. They're like, okay, the kid knows what he's talking about. We're all in the same boat. We probably have done this many times before. But so the businesses were feeding off each other for so long. But in real estate, there's a process. You really need to pay your dues. You need to get that experience. You need to burn yourself multiple times. My family used to say, I had uncles in the business, if you didn't get sued twice, you didn't even make it. I'm only sued once, but I won. But the whole point is that, sometimes the biggest difference between us and, we're technically millennials, but I don't believe in it. I think we're so far different than the millennials that I'm happy they kind of made a whole new subdivision of the name. I think they call it Xennials, where it's that small pocket of people that are really well connected to the older generation, but still understand the technology and everything of the new generation. And so you needed to take your time. You needed to get through parts of real estate that you might not like, and you got to sit in trailers and with no toilets and the heat and no air conditioning and sell off a paper and all these things that people now don't even understand. Now you're selling through 3D, artificial intelligence and virtual reality, and you're walking through the space and you can see the sun exposure. And I had to, we had to sell by actually going outside and showing them where the sun is. And these are the things we really had to pay our dues when we were younger and go through the processes and make those mistakes and to learn from those mistakes and do them again. And over again. And this is what the generation of today don't have.
Practice makes perfect, right?
They think that it just comes overnight and they get it perfect the first time around. And life is so easy breezy. But life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is very, very hard, and you need to fall down you got to bust your face over and over again. And then you'll start to really learn. Just like how we were with our families. They give us one quick smack, you never did it again. Yeah. We don't get to do that anymore. They don't get to learn the way
big spoons.
Or in Greek called the pantofilas.
The pantofilas. Yeah, we have the pantofilos. It's probably the closest word that we have.
Yeah. You guys got it from us. So.
Yeah, sure. Of course, you originated on the
there's Italians and then there's Greeks, right?
Why did you get the Greek women keep on marrying Greek men? No, we're getting a nice mix. There's like a hybrid Italian and Greek thing going on. Absolutely. But so that's the main thing is really not being afraid to fail and to do the things and get up from them, and that's where things are really interesting. Now in my older age, I have a very hard time doing residential real estate, but I've been in it 17 years. I'm only 38 years old, but I'm already a veteran.
38? You're looking good, man.
Thank you.
I thought 33.
My wife gives me the good moisturizer. She yells at me every morning.
But correct me if I'm wrong, your wife takes care of residential, now you commercial.
Yeah, that's right.
Partners.
So basically, when we did the transition from residential to commercial, you really got to make sure, one, that you have a really good pipeline of clients, buyers and sellers, and because the deals can be, I have deals that are 2 years and they're still not closed. So you really need to have a good amount of business that's turning, and to get to that point while you're already doing residential can be very difficult because you still have to maintain that client, and to do commercial, it takes a lot of time and effort. So you can kind of lose out on both because you're not giving 100% on both. With my wife coming into the team, first of all, it's fantastic. She's very smart. She knows what she's doing. And we didn't have to worry about our clients not getting the service that we're used to giving. She's probably even better than us because now she has patience to deal in residential real estate. Residential real estate is extremely difficult.
Was
it's all
she
about
an agent
patience.
Before you guys met?
She became a broker, and then her cousin, who's my best friend for over 20 years, told her that she should come and meet with me to interview to work under our team.
And then you close the deal.
And I
You closed two deals.
Closed 2 deals.
Two for one.
Two for
Two
one.
for one.
No, probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because at that time I was really into the club business, which was fantastic. It was just when Somwhr opened, and I was putting in all my efforts into that. And my partners at Crown were really, taking a lot more of my workload and doing what they had to do. And then Sarah, when she came into picture, she really balanced out the things that are most important. The club business has always been great for me. I made great clients there, made great friends, I have amazing partners. But at a certain point, you have to kind of take a bit of the energy you're putting in the night, because that's not where my primary income is coming from.
Okay.
And you got to allocate that energy into what makes you the real dollars that are going to put food on the table and build those empires that we all want.
Mm-hmm. And why Crown?
Well, when we started Crown, we really wanted to come up with a name. We were with kind of a generic type agency in the past that really didn't have a strong presence in luxury real estate and new development. So at the time, we started Crown as a subdivision of that agency to kind of portray luxury and also promote new developments.
Originally, you were with Royal LePage, or?
No, well, I started at Sutton, I went to Century 21, and now we're with M Real Estate.
Okay.
And M Real Estate is, they're very strong with their branding, and they're very strong with their social media. They're always pushing the guidelines and the barriers of how to promote in real estate, and it works perfectly with their branding.
Yeah, so M Real Estate, is that a commercial?
M Real Estate is primarily a residential agency.
So is that a competitor of Christie's and the Provision?
Well, they're the
My wife works at Provision.
Oh, nice.
Carl Remiel?
Yeah, of course. I know Carl all the time. He's the best.
One of his assistants.
Oh, amazing.
And she's a broker too.
Fantastic. No, Profusion is, they got a real niche market. They do a lot of luxury real estate. M is kind of like right in the middle. They kind of, they stay in the middle. They dabble on both sides of the spectrum of luxury and...
Like Raymond singing when he was here?
Yeah, Ray works under M as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys are like...
We work under the same agency, but Crown is the team
Okay.
that we've had for...
That's your brand?
Yeah, that's our brand. That's what we do everything with that.
So if we go back in time, why real estate?
It all came because of my father. My father at the time was working for the Royal Bank. He was one of the top guns over there for many, many years. He just retired after 40 plus years. Imagine working in the same place for that long. It doesn't even make sense. People can't even stay in the same place for an hour, and now back then they used to stay there for 40 years. But at the time, he was laid off at the time, and he was stuck in a situation where he was, they weren't really hiring, 50 plus year old guys. My dad went straight into business right out of high school. He never went to university. Probably the smartest guy that doesn't have a degree. He has pure experience. He was running, big departments, and at the time they were downsizing, and he didn't have a job. And he sat down with me one day, and he saw, one day I was sleepy on the couch, 21 years old, and like worried like any father would be, saying, okay, what's my son going to be doing, this whole time? It's fine, he's 21, let him have a good time. Back then we were making great money. It was a good time. And then he's like, listen, I think you should really, look into the future and see what you would be good at. He knew right away, my dad is amazing, because he knew I wasn't going to be a school type guy. He knew I wasn't going to do, the university, I wasn't going to take the path through university and get a degree. He knew I was an entrepreneur from the very beginning. I was starting my own businesses even when I was 18, when I had a travel agency.
You're
with my
more
brother.
street smart, let's say.
That's it. Well, we learned from, our elders, people. We were surrounded by wonderful people that were much smarter than we were. So we were learning from them. I had, my uncles, my father, everybody around me were extremely successful. My dad was much more of the corporate type, and then I had my uncles and everybody else were all entrepreneurs and in real estate. Right? Yeah, at the Dome, and I got my early start at the Dome. It's still not even a week passes that somebody doesn't still come up to me.
The good old days.
That was the best, man. That was literally the best nightclub.
It was a club that will, they'll last the test of time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he sat me down and he told me, he goes, listen, I really think that you should follow into the footsteps of your uncles and get into real estate. I think with all the connections that you're making, it just makes complete sense to, take that and monetize it. At that time, I really, I understood what he was saying, but I really didn't understand it until later down the line. Mm-hmm. So my dad did something I'll never forget. He actually came to school with me. He said, I have nothing better to do right now. Let's go to school. We'll do it together. I'll make sure you get your shit done, and We had a blast. We went to LaSalle College
That's
together
awesome.
with my dad.
Solid.
And at that time, my dad was like my dad. Like, think about your father. Like, he's such a, it's such an image to think of your father going to school with you at the time. And that's where I met my partner, Jesse. I've known him from before, but we ended up in the same real estate class. And then we ended up being partners like within moments after graduating. So we've been partners for 17 years already.
That's awesome.
And that's a rarity on its own. Being partners with somebody for that long is, you guys work together, you do everything together. This is just like a marriage.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's even more so.
Yeah.
Because you spend even more time together than even
And
with
that's
your
why I
wife.
have no hair.
So who gets all the stress? But picking your partner is something that people don't even realize today how important it is. Picking the right person to be with. Just like your wife and your business partners, you have to pick them almost exactly the same. These people are going to elevate you to a whole other level, or they're going to drown you and you're going to die.
Absolutely.
Right? And we've had opportunities to work with both types. We've had, myself and other people that I know have had, partners or significant others that have either taken to the top or completely drowned out and had to start from scratch. And people don't realize that when you're starting at that level, you're emotionally drained. To pick yourself back up, it takes a lot. And we did it. We had to push things back up from scratch, and that's what people don't understand. Like, we've been to war. Like, we've been in Montreal real estate for 17 years. We've been through recessions. We've been through separation scares. We've been through anything you could think of in this market. We've been through, and to have somebody you can lean on and you can kind of that's the main thing about a partner is somebody that you can confide in.
Yeah.
When things are shit, when things are great, okay, everything's great. You can be the shittiest person, but when things are great, you don't even see it.
Exactly.
It's when things are bad, you start to evaluate
So
the people around you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have been around, you guys have been through your ups and downs.
Of course.
And it's when you guys are on your down that you really start to evaluate the relationship. And that's when you say, okay, this is the right person I need to stick by me. Because if that person just picks up and goes, okay, what the hell is the point?
Yeah.
It's easy to have a good relationship when things are good.
That's when the tough times come.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
Communication is everything.
Yeah.
Everything else, when it comes to relationships, the one thing that I always thought was the most important was communication, and the fact that if you don't communicate, it leads to resentment, and resentment is the cancer of every relationship. If you don't speak about the things that you need and the things that you want, about about business, about family, about everything, if you don't speak about it, all it does is eat you from the inside out. And those are the arguments that you have when you don't even realize you're getting into argument. You're like, what the hell are you guys even arguing about? Why are you even mad at me? Why am I even mad at you? Why am I pissed off? If you start to evaluate and look back, and you're going to start to see, okay, this is what's been eating at me. You should bring it up and talk. And then most of the time, it'll just kind of level itself out. And if it doesn't ever get to that point of communication, it's done and done.
Yeah.
If you can't communicate, it's finished before you even started.
No, every time, let's say, for example, me and my wife have an argument, every couple has an argument.
Absolutely.
By the way,
It's very, very natural.
I cannot leave. I need to fix it right there.
And this is a very smart thing to do. Like, my wife and
then
I
it
never
boils up,
ever try to go to bed angry. Like, it happens a couple of times, but the second I wake up, it's like, I got to fix it right away.
100%.
The good thing about me and hers, we tend to forgive fast, and that's also very important to do. Like, holding grudges are just gonna kill you inside. That's what kills you before they die. Whoever dies early is the one that kept the grudge the longest.
True.
But life is good when you start to take away the things that are not important anymore. Like, there's so many things that I looked at in the past that were so important to me, and then when I look back at them, I say, why the hell did I even spend even a moment with those things or people? It doesn't matter what it is. It's just that it's so much easier now when you get older to start to just shed off all the shit that you don't need, and then you start to look at life completely different. You start like, do I need this? There's a very, very strong difference between need and want.
Exactly.
And you start to realize that when you get a bit older. I'm becoming that guy that sees the young kids and says, it's crazy how in time it just repeats itself. The same thing that my uncles and my family used to do with us when we were younger. I'm doing it now. I feel like I'm doing it even earlier because I feel like I lived multiple lifetimes with the type of life that I led. But it's crazy that you can never explain to a kid the things that they should or shouldn't do, because the reason why I am who I am is because of all the shit that I did.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So yeah, you could give all of the, you can express as much as you want and warning them or telling them or teaching them, but in the end, they got to bust their face. And if they don't do it, they're going to be weak. And the reason why we're not weak is because we weren't afraid to get dirty. We did all the things that people say you shouldn't do.
Life experiences.
We're not bad people. We just like to do bad things, right?
Absolutely.
That's the life that you want to lead, and especially for your kids. And then now I get older, I'm like terrified. I don't even have kids yet, and I'm saying, man, all that shit that I did, that cliff that I jumped off of, or whatever it is that I did, where I almost looked up and said, God, thank you for not killing me in this moment. And now I'm like, my child, for them to be the type of person that I am, has to go through the same thing. It terrifies me. It terrifies me. The amount of times I looked at my best friend and said, man, please to God, do not tell my mom that we're doing this right now. It's like countless amount of times. But then I say to myself, man, they got to go through it.
Yeah.
And that's another problem with the generation of today. They're so, enclosed in a bubble. They're like in a bubble suit, and the parents are like holding them so tight, and they don't let them do anything. What do you think happens when they turn 20 or 18 or whatever?
Scared.
They get blasted.
Yeah.
They get into drugs. But I've been in the business for so many years. I've never been a drug addict. I had enough confidence to say, no, this is not for me. Because if I did it, I would have been destroyed already. I would already be dead. Right? And that's, how do you put your kid out there and make sure that they have enough confidence to say, no, it's not for me, I'm good. I'll be fine with whatever else is going on. And that's the thing that's really kind of freaking me out. I want my kids one day to be like, go out, get blasted, have a great time, but while you're blasted, have enough, confidence to say no when it's time. Maybe we slipped a couple here and there, but we never had that addictive personality and went forward. And I thank and that comes down to your friends, right?
Yeah, you are who your friends.
It's 100%. You're 100% right. You have your family, and your family will take you to a certain level. But after that, it becomes the influences around you. Who are your friends, your partners, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever those people are. And you are a reflection of who they are, and vice versa. So, if this person's shit, you're shit. If they're amazing, you're amazing. If they're, a motivational type, you'll be motivated. If they're driven, you'll be driven. And that's where you really need to see. You need to look at who's around you. I've had a lot of, amazing friends who maybe weren't as well-to-do as everybody else, but they still had great morals. They still were good people, good values. It's not always monetary. It's not always based on that. It's also based on the person teach you what's the difference between right and wrong, right? And that's another thing. Where are the kids learning the differences between right and wrong now?
Yeah.
Us, we had religion class. Okay, religion's not a big thing. I've never been a very religious type person, but at least religion taught you the differences between right and wrong. Now, kids, what do they have? They have cartoons to tell them. Who's telling them?
Family Guy.
If you're doing social media, that scares the shit out of
DJ
me.
Khaled.
Yeah, he's the new Jesus.
New Jesus.
But it doesn't even matter what we believe in. Religion is something that gives you comfort, and it's always been a very big, political thing to speak about. But people need to just realize that it's a comfort. It's something to believe in, that you can teach your kids what the differences between right and wrong are. And people are taking it too serious. Okay, it's a bunch of people who created this. Yeah, fantastic. It also built, the world to what it is now. And then we kind of lost sight of that, and we took it for extremists and all that shit. But look at the core of what it's all about. It's about teaching you the difference between right and wrong.
Respect your neighbor.
Respect. It's about respect. It's about, common decency.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's crazy. I don't know. I always compare ourselves to the younger generation, and it's the same as older generation did with us. But it scares the shit out of me that they have no direction as to, what's gonna tell them the differences between right and wrong. Right? So take care of your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Give a quick smack. Don't tell anybody.
Well, they're gonna watch this video in a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you planning to have kids soon, or?
100%. We've always wanted to have kids. Sarah and I mesh perfectly together. We have the same. It's we all are I'm older than her by 13 years, But
13 years,
Yeah,
wow.
13 years. I lucked out on this. She's so advanced. She's an old soul, and I've always been a young soul, so we kind of met in the middle. But you know, she still has young tendencies, and we just kind of like matched perfectly. And at the time that we met, I was kind of digressed at the time, and I was kind of taking a step back to kind of reevaluate what I wanted. And at the time, she was like building herself up, so we kind of like are building ourselves at the exact same time, and it's been a lot of fun. Like we've been having a great time growing our careers together. And a lot of people ask, how is it that you can work together?
Let's talk about your wedding, man. Freaking, you had robots. It's freaking amazing, dude.
The wedding was amazing.
Little drum rolls or something?
The wedding, like, we didn't, you know...
You went all out.
Yeah. It was...
How many people?
We were 450-ish
Wow.
about. We were supposed to actually get married last Saturday. Unfortunately, at the time, Sarah's mom got sick, so we did... She's doing great right now, thank God. But at the time... we fast-tracked the wedding. So we found out last November, and we got married in December 29th. So we planned out the whole wedding in a month. And man, we busted our ass to get this thing going. And like, a lot of people didn't really have, high expectations for the wedding, because, you know, who can really plan something at this magnitude for this many people? But I could do it. And I did it to the best that I could. And we still need to present, like, I've been in the club business, I've been in the entertainment business for so long. There was no way that my wife and I were going to put out a shit-ass wedding. But in the end of it all, we, you know, with the drummers and the robot and the great music and the great bar and everything, the food,
Where was it?
it comes down to the people.
Where was it, Mont Blanc?
No, at the Plaza Valaria,
Oh, okay, that's right there.
which was fantastic. But like I was saying, it came down to the people. Because you can have all the entertainment in the world, but
If it's the people that make the
if
party.
the people are not into it, then you're gonna have a shit wedding. We had a wonderful time. We danced. We didn't. I didn't even go to my table to eat because we were just dancing the whole time. And that's what I told Sarah. I said, if you want to have a good time, if you want this wedding to be amazing, you and I can never leave the dance floor. And I was so proud of her because she's not much to stay out till late, but she was out right until the very end, until like they had to kick us out of the place. But we had such a great time. It was amazing.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, well, you know, if it was after this, you would have had an invitation. We're missing some good quality Greeks, though. That's for sure.
Of course. So how long you guys been married for? What is it?
Now it's going to be, December, I don't know, it's about 7-8 months.
And you went to Bali or something, right? No,
Yeah,
Thailand.
I went to Indonesia.
Indonesia, how was
Yeah, I
it?
went to Bali.
I heard it's beautiful.
It's amazing. We're
Freaking
kind of
far, huh?
It's far, but I love it. Sarah could sleep 14 hours straight, so she's the best traveling partner anybody can ask for. And I'm in peace because my phone's not ringing. I can watch movies, back-to-back movies the whole time, and no one's bothering me. So I'm in heaven. I get excited to get on the plane for that long. I sit back, I watch a whole series, and Sarah's sleeping, and it's literally heaven for me. But we've been really connected to Southeast Asia the last 3-4 years. And we've been in the Philippines, we did Indonesia, we did Thailand, we're doing Vietnam and Cambodia this year.
Wow.
But we got into scuba diving, and now we just go wherever we can scuba dive.
Solid.
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Have you been to Greece?
No, but that's next summer.
You
Don't
love
worry, I'm gonna call you guys for connections.
Italy, you've been to Italy for sure.
Italy, I've been to a bunch of
Naples,
times.
no? You're from Naples.
I'm from Naples, yeah. We had a family members that owned hotels in Sorrento, so we had it made for so long, but unfortunately they had to the lease ran out, so they had to give it back. But for 30 plus years it was in the family, and we had a great, beautiful hotel right in the middle of the Amalfi Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
So let's go back in time, the hustle days. How was your first few years as a real estate broker, let's say?
The first few years are, what people don't tell you when you get into real estate is you really need to survive the first year. Because you need to get that crank going, and to get the crank going, it takes at least a year. Most of the stuff that you're going to close, it's going to take months before you can even convince somebody to trust you enough with their biggest investment.
What were you doing? Cold calling, referrals?
I never had to do, I was lucky enough not to have to do cold calling. I built up such a network of people throughout the years that I kind of just tapped into the people I already knew. But I can only imagine people that didn't have a network like me, how hard it must have been.
Yeah.
Like I had resources that most people in a lifetime will never even have a half. I had it all, like everything, first name basis down the line. People who make money tend to like to drink, so I knew them all. But even at that, it took time because I was young. I was a bartender for a long time. I was a very intelligent kid. I was definitely advanced for my age. But again, you know, I was dealing with guys who are much older than me, and they knew me as Adamo, the bar guy. They loved to hang out with me, but it didn't necessarily mean they wanted to give me their business. So it took a little bit of time to kind of
build the trust,
convince them. And once that started to kind of progress, then the ball started to roll. And once the ball starts to roll, then you just need to give it a push. You know, constant pushes, but you don't need to, like, you know, push it up the hill and then roll it down. Sorry?
You're planting seeds.
Seed planting is what I do. I've been seed planting. I've been like a master seed planter forever. And that's another thing people don't realize. You know, you need to spread it out everywhere, and you don't even know where the business is going to come from. It could come years later. But people need to know that when they think of that business, that they think of you. Mm-hmm. If you're a plumber and somebody, when they think plumbing, you got to think you. If they don't think that way, then you're not doing your job properly.
What do you think about, do you think there's going to be a crash coming up soon?
Not necessarily. I think, you know, there's always a correction when you have such a market that it has exploded, but I think this is not what we think it is. I think this is where we're supposed to be. We've always been so attached to the whole situation of separatism and having that French versus English scenario that's been holding us back throughout the years. And now that this kind of has been taken away, you know, the last election, it wasn't even a part of the debate. The only reason why it would slow down is because of us. We are our own worst enemy. This I've been saying forever. So now that we don't have that holding us back, we should be able to progress and go as far as we want to go. Because Montreal is an unbelievable city. We have the character, we have the look, we have everything that everybody else wants, we have.
The REM coming up?
The REM is going to be massive. It's going to start connecting the outskirts and the suburbs to the downtown core. Downtown needed to we've taken a beating downtown because, you know, we had to change the whole infrastructure of the city. It needed to be done. This is, you know, none of us are really going to, you know, not fully agree or whatever it is, but, you know, we're always angry when we're in traffic, but it needed to be done. The city is literally falling apart. Yeah. So, you know, we're the oldest city. We're one of the oldest cities in North America. Our infrastructure was dying. So it's better to just get it done, and that's it. Our kids are really gonna, you know, they're really gonna appreciate it.
And what's up with all these condos, man? Like,
well, listen,
you think that's a good thing, or?
Well, listen, a good thing is, listen, they're selling, right? Are they to investors? Are they to owner-occupiers? The reason why people are always talking shit about it is because you're only seeing what's happening in the first years of the new developments. New developments usually take between 3 to 5 years to complete. In the beginning, it's only investors buying because they're the only people. They don't need to know what's going to happen in 5 years because it's just an investment. It's not their personal vested time. It's not their family. It's just money and return on investment. But for somebody who wants to move in as an owner-occupier, most of us don't know what the hell we're doing in 5 years. Are you going to put 20% down, $200,000 of liquid money into a property 5 years down the line or even 3 years down the line? Most people won't. But now that you're seeing the ending of most of these projects, the final phases of the projects, you're starting to see more people moving into them themselves. So now you're going to get a better picture as to what's happening in these buildings. Yes, of course, in the beginning, it was a lot more of an investment because we had a big boom. But now I'm starting to see a lot more owner-occupiers coming in. It's becoming more balanced. Other than that, immigration's high. Less people are moving outside of Montreal because they don't have the political uprising of the separatists. So instead of 50,000 people coming in and 50,000 going out, you're having 50,000 coming in and 40,000 staying. So where are these 40,000 people are going to stay? Maybe not all 40,000 of them can afford top-end real estate downtown, but there's affordable housing that they're building with every new development. There's social housing they're building with every new development. So we need to have these things. If people want to work downtown, they need to have somewhere to live.
Yeah.
And you see the traffic. Like, I work and live downtown. It's the best lifestyle ever. I walk to work. I walk everywhere. I
live 7 minutes away, Nuns Island.
It's the best
thing.
It's
a little suburb. Oh, yeah, I love it.
It's an unbelievable thing not having to be in traffic every day. I see people do it every day, and it's literally the reason why I would die young, is if I have to spend 3 hours in traffic every day.
Sunday, because my parents live in Laval. Sunday coming back home, I was stuck in traffic for at least 1 hour.
That could drive you crazy.
But people do that every freaking day.
They do it every day, but they don't even realize that they can do it different.
That's 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week. Do the math.
But let's say having kids.
You need to organize yourself accordingly. Like my partner, he moved downtown. He uprooted his family from Ville Saint Laurent, took a multiple bedroom unit downtown. He's got his 2 kids there, and everybody asked, You know, how is it possible to do that? He's like, I make it work. Plus, the hour in the morning, the hour in the evening, you know where it goes? It goes to his kids, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because those 2 hours of traffic that he had before, that was because he had to leave early, and that's because he was coming home late. So now his kids get to see him 2 hours more per day.
Absolutely.
So for him, it's a huge plus. People don't even realize that. The time that you're in your car is quality time with your family because you're not at work. That was the time you would have been. Exactly. It's there's something to be said about working and living within your. That's why right now a lot of the new developments are building these kind of multi-use type developments where it's like mixed commercial, residential, hotel. They're building like small communities within the same project because the new thing is that they want to kind of work and play and eat and work out within the vicinity, and this is where a lot of developers are going right now. They're making it so that you work and play within the same hub, so you don't have to go so far away for everything.
So we're launching this episode in a few months. What's the hottest project right now as we speak, in your opinion?
Well, right now the biggest and hottest project is going to be the Square Phillips project from Brivia Group.
Just down the street right here.
Yeah, it's right over here. It's going to be the highest residential tower, over 60 stories.
I registered actually.
Yeah, well, you're going to buy from me, right?
Sure.
Or at least for my wife. She's better than me. But yeah, this is going to be a massive project. They're pulling out all the stops, or they're going all the way high quality. The guys from Brivia are fantastic. I live in one of the Brivia buildings at YUL, and these guys really went over and above on quality. You could feel it in the doors, you could feel it in the hardware, in the knobs, in the showers. You could feel it everywhere. You could see a real difference between what they put out and versus some of their competitors. Some of the competitors, you're paying top dollar and you have cheap. It's cheap materials, But this is going to be a massive project. It's going to be beautiful, and the whole area is completely being revamped with the park being completely redone.
It's going to be taller than Tour de Canada.
Yeah, it's going to be taller, absolutely, over 60 stories. 61, 62, something like that. But it's going to be wonderful. There's kind of a lapse of a lot of developments because in Montreal there's a lot of industrial properties switching over to residential, and with the government everything's very slow, so we have a disconnect. So it's taking over a year to get the zoning change. So this year we're going to have a very limited amount of launches, and you're going to see in 2021 there's going to be a lot more coming out.
And do you own all the businesses that you do business in?
Well, Crown is a team, so I'm just a founder of the team, and Somwhr I'm an owner, of course.
Of the entire
of the brand and everything around it.
Yeah, you know Grant Cardone? Yeah. Okay, he says, rent where you live and live where you rent.
That's one of my partners from Somwhr actually just brought this up to me because he's a fiscalist type. He's very into the numbers.
Because owning a house is not an investment.
No, it's not an investment at all. And you should put the least amount down on your home so that you could take that money, and it's opportunity cost, right? The money that you're gonna make putting down in the house versus taking down money putting into investment is night and day. But most people are not able to do that, or they don't have the connection with the bank to be able to put less. Most of the time you're putting 20% down, and the way the house prices are right now, you talk about a couple $100,000 to put down. If you're a first home buyer, what are you gonna do, right? But if you can rent and just live like that and take that whole, it's kind of something that's been burnt into our mind. You need to own a house. You need to own where you live, but you don't need to own where you. It's an old school mentality. You don't need to do that. You can rent at a very modest price. Plus, with renting, you're open to move around very easily.
More flexibility.
No taxes, no condo fees.
Yeah, everything's built into the price. You know what you're budgeted for every month. But the thing is that it's not like the market's like this all the time. This is the first time the market's been really like this in my career in real estate. We've had ups and downs. We've had great ups, but this is just ridiculous, right? This is something we've never seen before. And people put their house on the market and sells over asking price. We're kind of like, it's a little bit over exaggerated right now. But in any other circumstances, most of the time a house sits for at least 90 days. At least when you rent, you can pick up and go. You can negotiate with the landowner. You can pay a couple of rent up front, or you can sublease and then you can move.
You also said that you were involved in the nightlife industry since a young age?
Yeah, well, nightlife industry, I started I started doing the early parties when I was in grade 7. I used to have all the kids come to the bottom floor of the church. We used to have hundreds of kids. It used to be crazy. And we're actually doing pretty well for ourselves back then. But yeah, I naturally progressed into the club business. My family were club owners from a very young age, with Dome and Vatican, with Boom, and there was Next, and we had a part of Peel Pub on Saint Jacques. Like it was crazy back then, and my uncles were pretty much like.
You're retired.
Yeah, he's retired now. He's doing another type of business, but they were really a part of the. They really made Montreal what it was from like the 90s all the way until the mid 2000s, right? Like there's not a day that passes that somebody doesn't bring it up to me at least once.
And let's say somebody that wants to get started in the nightlife industry, maybe opening up a club, what steps should they be taking?
Well, listen, if you don't have a great operator, somebody who's going to take care of the business from morning till night, don't even think about it, because you're going to lose your wallet. You're going to lose everything. Because it comes down to saving and doing it right and taking care of staff. And there's so many things about a club business that people don't realize. They think it's just, so much fun and having a blast and drinking and party. It's literally, that's 10% of the whole business. 90% of it is, the marketing and the branding, the staff and everything in between that. It's a lot of work.
Talk about branding. How did you build up yourself to be one of the biggest connectors in Montreal?
Yeah, not an influencer, right? I wouldn't call myself an influencer. Connector, I like that terminology a lot more, because I've been connecting people since I was very young. I've always been very good at seeing what somebody needs and seeing how I can fill it with somebody else. I've probably given out 1,000 jobs in my lifetime. I would have probably opened up a headhunter agency when I was younger, but I did it out of I was a giver. I used to love to give in any which way possible. And I never really expected anything in return. All I really wanted is that when I call, you answer. And that was really all I really wanted throughout the years. And you know what? When I call, people answer. And that's what gives me my strength, because you can know people and then you can know them the way I know them. Because the way I know them is by memories and laughter and having good times or making them a shitload of money. But it's all positive and it's all great, or I'm connected to a lot of charity events, so maybe I might call them a little bit too many times, but that's all I expect from people, is that when I call, that the answer.
So when we're talking about connecting now, is it true in your opinion the best deals are made in the golf course? Like Matinée was invented.
That was a day party, complete day party. Listen, that's just it's a saying, but it's 100% true, because when you are doing things of common interest with people that you may not know well, that's where you get kind of the barriers when they drop. That's why it's always been a thing where, if you were a smoker, you used to get the better jobs and the better connections. It was true, because if you're outside with the boss smoking, you're doing something of common interest. You're getting that insight. You're getting him at his barriers are down. He's more relaxed. And you're getting all that information and you're getting ahead of everybody else. Same thing with the golf course, same thing with anything else that has to do with being together for common interest. That's where the charity events came in. When I'm on 3 different charity committees. The other thing that was great about being a part of the charity committee was that you're connecting with other people with common interests.
And it's tax-free, right?
Yeah, of course, certainly.
But does it have to be, the thing is, because people talk about golf, but what if you don't play golf, man?
Well, then do something else with others. Listen, I don't play golf as much as I want to, but you do other things that you connect with other people for common interests. Like I said, like being a part of a charity committee. You're at a table with 20 other people who are doing very well for themselves, that bring a lot to the table. That's a very easy way of connecting with 20 other people.
Do you do something with Ferreira, right? Simon Aboud's wife. You know Simon Aboud?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's right. We know Simon Aboud really well.
He looks like a little bit.
Well, we're on the Sugar Ball committee together. Me and Sandra.
Right. Yes, that's right.
Sandra was one of the committee heads, and
we're supposed to sit down with Simon next week or something for a drink.
Oh, amazing! She's amazing.
Both
of them are amazing.
Yeah.
Someone had a question. They're asking, someone like you who comes from the nightlife industry, based on personal experience, do you know if your clubs, lounges restrict people of color or sex to enter, if they are in bigger groups to have a higher traffic of females and Caucasians?
So just basically talk about vetting the crowd.
Yeah, pretty much.
Listen, every club wants to have the ideal type of crowd for their club. When it comes down to it, it comes down to making money. What it comes down to is that you want to have like a nice, clean, fun, safe environment. That's what it comes down to, and make money. So you do whatever you can to vet it to keep it safe, whatever that means. Doesn't mean anything about color, doesn't mean anything about anything.
Yeah.
It just means about having a great crowd for a good time. That's what it comes down to.
It all starts with screening somebody. Dress code.
It's
no
not about
hats.
screening. The guys in the front work by energy. They feel people's energy. If somebody feels aggressive, that guy is going to be waiting in the line the whole time. It's about, you know, seeing people in the crowd that will make the party go up a level because of energy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter of the color, religion, or anything. I have friends of every different nationality, and you know, I would never look at them in a different way other than the character.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years regarding your real estate business and the nightlife industry?
Well, I definitely see myself being an owner of other businesses. Like I said, all my businesses kind of, you know, they flow within each other, so one builds up the other. So whatever that may be, I'm not sure exactly what it'll be, but I'll definitely be an owner of other enterprises. Definitely in real estate, I'll probably get into development and being a promoter, which would be managing and selling my own projects. That'll be down the line for sure. And you know, probably gonna have some kids by then. So.
And let's say a recession happens. Isn't it harder with commercial real estate, like, you know, offices close, business close, especially like little mom and pop
listen,
shop?
it's a debatable thing. Obviously, I always look at things in a positive, and for me, for the amount of time I've been in this business, I have a client for the good times and the bad times. So, you know, you ask an investor when's the best time to buy, they're probably going to tell you when there's a recession, right? Because the markets come down. Just like the stock market, you sell high, you buy low. It's the same thing in
Get
real
everything
estate.
in discount.
There's gonna be a big amount of movement if there is a recession, because it won't last long, and I think we'll bounce back quickly. So you're gonna see a lot of you know, commercial guys buying up a lot of property, and when they're buying, there's movement, and with movement, there's money being made, and with money being made, this is what's gonna take us out of any recession or any sort of you know, correction in the market. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not too worried.
Well, they say behind every challenge, there's a seed of a great opportunity. So
Absolutely.
You don't look worried. You just look like a teddy bear.
yeah.
My wife likes to cuddle, so I make sure that she has something to cuddle with.
There you go.
Let's say somebody at Adamo wants to follow you on social media. How can they follow you?
You can follow me at Adamo514. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Adamo514, okay.
Adamo514.
Simple.
It's easy enough. You'll find all of my exploits there. It's all about fun on my Instagram. It's nothing too serious. I don't take myself serious. It's you know, it's mostly family fun, and my adventures of you know, every day is an adventure in my life because I'm all over the place. But you know, I like to travel the world, so there's a lot to see there. Absolutely.
You should be proud of yourself, man.
Thank you.
It's only the beginning.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Same for you guys.
Thank you, man. So charities.
Yeah, and if also you do a lot of charity work, how can they follow your charities?
Yeah, so I'm a part of a couple of committees. One's the Sugar Ball. The Sugar Ball is held in always the first weeks of May. It's to support the McCord Museum. So anything cultural behind Montreal's history, that's the McCord Museum. So
Never been there, actually.
Yeah, it's a wonderful event. It's something different than the other type of charity events, but culture is just as important as anything else and should be protected. The other one I'm a part of is the Kids for Kids Gala, which is coming up this November. That's the one you really need to.
You're gonna invite us?
Yeah, I'm on the committee for Kids for Kids. It's going to be a wonderful event. We just launched the save the date, so you can see that on my Instagram.
Well, that's for your nephew Sammy, right?
No, the one for Sammy is the third one. That's called Sammy's Valentine's Gala, and that one we do on Valentine's weekend every year.
We follow him on Instagram. He has like 8 million followers or something.
Yeah, I think in altogether he has definitely millions of followers. And for somebody who only has you know, the movement of a thumb, and you know, he can breathe and see and hear, but he can only really move his thumb a bit. He creates all his own content.
Oh, wow.
He generates enough money to hire his mother and sister to work for him.
Wow.
So for a kid that wasn't supposed to be older than 2 years old, he just turned 19 a couple weeks ago.
Well, we would love to participate in all your charities, man.
Absolutely.
That'd be amazing.
And we're gonna do some heavy collaborations for sure.
Absolutely.
Adamo, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Really appreciate it. Continue doing what you're doing. Congratulations on your success. It's only the beginning, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.